garbage workers who pick up my freaking trash risk their lives every day more than anyone in this school system. Figure it out or get off the podium. Because you know what? There are people like me and a line of other people out there who will gladly take your seat and figure it out. It's not a high bar. Raise the freaking bar.
Now, I know you've seen that video. That was the moment. That was the shot heard around the world. That was the moment where the modern parents movement began. It was in the middle of the pandemic. You saw the masks on everyone. It was ridiculous. And it was one guy, one dad in Northern Virginia who had had enough and demanded from his school board that they just do their job. He was frustrated that he could go to a hardware store or a bar or a restaurant and they figured it out, but his little child couldn't go to the state-run school that he pays for. They couldn't figure it out. Well, the parents' movement continues, and it's probably the driving force of these midterm elections coming up. And that guy, that man, he's still motivated, he's still activated, and he's still making a difference. He is Brandon Michon, and he joins us right now in studio. Brandon, it's so great to see you again.
Thanks, Larry.
Well, I remember when that video hit, it was pushed to me on Twitter the night of that school board meeting in Loudoun County, and we had you on the show the very next day, my radio show on WMAL. What's life been like since then?
It's been very interesting. You know, obviously last year with Governor Youngkin's run for the seat, was very involved in the discussion of being an active parent and having a voice that matters. Yeah. We were successful in getting Youngkin to Richmond. I spent the beginning of this year running. I ran for the Republican ticket for the Virginia 10th. Unfortunately, wasn't successful there, but continuing to spread the message that your voice matters as a parent, and been continued to be asked to be involved in various components of discussion regarding children, their education, and the voice of parents.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up the Youngkin campaign, because that had that startling moment at the debate with Terry McAuliffe, the Democrat, where he said out loud, I don't think parents really should have a say in these things. It had to do with a book and a library, but it really spoke volumes about the entire approach that our government takes in these schools, and that you parents, your voice is not wanted in that room.
That's right. And it was very interesting because McAuliffe's gaffe of saying parents don't matter within the education of their children set off this rocket ship for this movement across the United States. And we're seeing it even now as we head into November. We're seeing it come up again and again. We've had locally, we've had in Virginia, again, a local representative who's pushing forward legislation.
Yeah, this is Elizabeth Guzman. We talked about
correct.
it on the show, but we can't say it enough. She wants legislation that will basically criminalize a parent not affirming their child's gender.
That's right. And I think the funniest part about it is, this isn't going to be politically correct to say this. Majority of people, I think, have such busy lives that they're not going to care about a lot of these transgender and LGBTQ issues, because the majority of the time it does not impact them. It doesn't come into their daily lives. And so as a parent, why am I going to go out and stick my neck out there to risk my voice when there's a lot of repercussions for us in society today? But when that comes home to you, being that legislation may be passed that if I do disagree, now parents are going to speak up. And this, to me, could be the 2021, canary in the coal mine issue like McAuliffe, that this could drive people who are on the edge to come across and vote for change this November.
Well, you're right. And Brandon, because you have to play these things out the way that the natural progression here. First of all, I know you well enough at this point to know neither of us, we care about all children, not just our children. We don't want parents to abuse their children. We don't want and there are laws already. If a teacher knows or even suspects that a parent in a child's home is abusive, they're supposed to report that parent right now. But it's based on what we would traditionally call abuse, right? So if we allow this to move forward, that this 8-year-old wants to use different pronouns and a different name and the parents won't let them, that's child abuse. Well, what about having a gun in the home? That could be child abuse, depending on what state you're living in.
Where is the line?
Where is the line? And whose children are they? Who is ultimately responsible for these kids? And I think that's what you started here by just merely pointing out that these school board members, these elected representatives, they ignored you. They didn't care because they thought they knew better than you.
Larry, I have 4 kids, from a 10-year-old down to an 18-month-old. They are one of the most important things in my wife and I's life, and we care for them and we want to see the best for them. why does the state, why does the government know better what's best for my kids when I deal with them every day? I help them when they're learning to get potty trained. We're helping them brush their teeth. We're teaching them that they can't sit and watch, Blues Clues all day long on the TV, and they need to go outside and play. How do they know better than us as parents? Now, there are circumstances where parents are neglecting their kids, and as you said, that is the opportunity where we are supposed to speak up to protect the children.
Yes.
But we are not supposed to have 7-year-olds making adult decisions when they can't drive, they can't smoke, they can't even drink alcohol.
Yeah. So I don't even know your party affiliation. Well, you ran as a Republican, so I'm guessing, or at least right now you're a Republican. We Republicans, we've seen candidates come and go, and they come and they take on an issue like this, and they say, yes, I'm going to be your champion. And then they win election, and it sort of falls away. And I worry about that with these midterms.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know you were very active in getting Glenn Youngkin a victory there 1 year ago in Virginia. How do you think he's done in terms of taking this issue and really applying it the way he promised?
I think they've continued to press. Could they always do more? Sure. Now, I think there's also a voice that has to be not just at the state level, but the national level. And I was invited a couple weeks ago to be on a caucus that's protecting kids with the various members of Congress. And I was just down the road here in a meeting. And I told them, and I challenged them, that there were 10 members of Congress on this caucus. 10 members, 5 showed up. And I said, the fact that we're in a room that can hold 50 people and there is not a line down the hall of this building waiting to get in is saying something.
Yeah.
That we need to protect the innocence of our youth. We need to protect the future generation of America.
Yeah.
And if we're not doing it enough on the state level, we need to be doing it on the federal level, and we need to talk to each other to protect our children. So I think Youngkin, he is doing a lot. Could he do more? You can always do more.
Always, yeah.
Can parents do more? Yes. Can elected officials do more? Yes. And if this is not the number one issue, then what are we doing?
Right, what are we doing?
What are
We're
we
not
doing?
protecting our kids at our schools that we're paying
Correct.
for. It started with getting the kids back in the classroom with COVID, and then getting the masks off the kids and getting rid of the social distancing that we've all learned was all bogus anyway, right? Then it went to critical race theory. Then it went to the transgender policy. Now we've got this latest thing. Do you think that this is progressing in the right direction? Because, listen, I love the parents who are activated about it, but I'm actually concerned and surprised that those who are promoting these destructive policies for our kids haven't backed down.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is agendas. If you really want to look at it, and I don't know the answer to this, it's always follow the money. Look at the EV oil discussion. Follow the money, right? Someone's making money. Look at all the policies that are being pushed, whether it's foreign policy, where is the money going to, where are the contracts going to.
Yeah.
Somebody is making money off this. Do I know who that is? I don't actually. And so I feel like there's a lot of agendas that are being pushed because there's someone in the back moving or pushing stuff. And you said it, I heard it this morning. You talked about, the funniest thing you said, I think you said Kamala's mother is a doctor, right?
A scientist.
Or a scientist.
Kamala Harris said,
yeah.
my mother's a scientist.
Yeah. So what does she know, right? And so we're trusting scientists to tell us the best things, but then we're using policy and we're using agendas to say,
Yeah.
This isn't science anymore.
Yeah.
And so we're making excuses when we, again, I can't say this enough. We must protect the innocence of our youth.
30 seconds left, Brandon Michon. There are a lot of little Brandon Michons watching right now, moms and dads who were fed up like you were. What do they need to do to go beyond just, calling into a talk show or maybe writing a comment on a Facebook page?
Be involved in your community. Volunteer at your schools. Starts there. My wife is volunteering today at our elementary school for our kids. It's the same elementary school that I went to. I went and volunteered. Go up, show up, be there. Go to your local school board meetings, have a voice. Talk to your local elected officials, have a voice. Don't be afraid of being canceled. That is the biggest thing. We are protecting our kids. There's nothing to be afraid of. No one's going to cancel you for protecting your kids. Show up and have a voice.
What happens in your house is more important than the White House. Thank you,
That's
Brandon,
right.
for being involved. Time
Thank you
for
so
you
much.
to get involved as well. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.